6ix9ine is potentially going to get no jail time, and here's why. Don't forget to like the video and be sure to subscribe to King Trending. Number 7, the arrest.
He's actually a cool kid. And, you know, unfortunately, he got a serious situation on his hands, man, and I try to warn him.
Before we get into what happened recently, we need to rewind ourselves a bit a few months back to see what really happened to 6ix9ine. In November, 6ix9ine was about to drop his first studio album, but then on November 18th, he was then arrested by police in New York City on various crimes. These crimes include racketeering, conspiracy, possession, and much more. These were just the latest charges in a long list that was alleged against 6ix9ine since he came onto the scene in 2015, each getting worse than the last. Here's the catch though, not only were these charges much more serious than the other ones, which included the use of a minor in an illegal act, assaulting a fan and a police officer, and many more other things, but it was the FBI who did the arresting this time. They had been watching 6ix9ine for quite some time now, building up quite a case against him, and they felt they had him dead to his rights. And they might just be right. Or actually, yeah, they were right, but that's for later. The point is, he was arrested for major charges, serious federal charges, but not so ironically, it doesn't really end there. Not only was he arrested, but 6ix9ine's former group of friends and his ex-manager were also arrested as accomplices for many of these crimes. And not so ironically, again, they had them dead to the rights on that matter as well. This was a very big deal in the rap world for numerous reasons, not the least of which was that 6ix9ine kept slipping out of severe punishments. Some of his prior cases could have ended in serious jail time, and yet he kept on finding and getting new ways to get out of them. And some of the ways he did were so completely mind-boggling. But here, it was definitely clear he was caught, and things were only gonna get worse for him once he got inside.
How mad all these haters that wish I was in jail is right now. Y'all are sick, stupid.
As his troubles were soon to escalate. Number 6, plea deal terms.
Tekashi 6ix9ine's you know, transcript of his guilty plea, is that correct?
Yeah.
So as mentioned, 6ix9ine reached out and got a plea deal, and now the entire contents of the plea deal has been revealed, and that it's only surprisingly good given the charges against 6ix9ine at the time. To put it in the most basic of terms, by accepting this plea deal, the prosecution agrees not to fully prosecute 6ix9ine of any of the 9 charges that were put against him, including the sentence ones, as long as he keeps his end of the bargain when the sentencing comes. They'll ask for the judge to give him less or possibly much less than the minimum sentence of 49 years. The catch here is cooperation. If the more 6ix9ine cooperates to help take down the former members of his group, the more goodwill he'll get from the prosecution and the judge, more than likely.
To the U.S. Attorney's Office that he will cooperate fully with the New York City Police Department.
That's why the sentencing isn't until January 2020, to give time to see just how cooperative 6ix9ine really is. As a bonus, should he need it, 6ix9ine will be granted witness protection. Number 5, witness protection.
Seen a motion for a sentence below any mandatory minimum, the plea deal reads. 6ix9ine is also eligible for witness protection.
Witness protection? Why would 6ix9ine need that? You might ask, and yeah, it's very simple. He snitched. And as the old saying goes, snitches get stitches. I hope I don't have to explain what that means. The point is, with him going in this direction and giving out the details on the crimes and who committed them, he will be definitely having a large literal target on his back from his groups and those that were loyal to him. For there have been sources close to those in said group that have said that 6ix9ine should be released in a very short amount of time, so he won't last very long if you get my drift. Witness protection is meant for those who are protected by the government because they have information on various people of interest to the government. 6ix9ine will be taken out of New York and be given a new identity to live out, you know, his life for a while until the threat is taken care of. There are many out there who would say that this is more than 6ix9ine deserves after all he's done, but that's honestly neither here nor there. It's all about the deal he made. And this part of the deal, and yeah, what happens next? Well, that's tricky. Number 4, life after. Despite everything that's going on, one of the biggest questions that needs to be answered is, what happens to 6ix9ine once his sentence is served? Well, honestly, that depends on his sentence and what his sentence implies and how many people are angry with him. In terms of prison sentence, you can get anywhere between 10 to 20 years or less than 10, or in certain cases, none at all, mainly because he'll be a witness in protection for a certain amount of time. Each of these sentences carries a different outcome of his life. For example, if he spends 1 to 2 decades in jail, means that he would be coming out of prison to an entirely new world, and one that will likely won't welcome him back as a rapper, mainly because rap probably won't be where it was when he left it. He'll have to adapt to the new world world and whatever that contains. If he manages only to get 5 years in prison or less, it's very possible that he'll try to keep his legend alive for as long as he's able to, get people to want him to come back via social media and such, to work out deals to try to get back on the horse as soon as he's out. Of course, if the FBI doesn't get all the dangerous people he ratted out gone, that could lead to new problems for him. And of course, if he's in witness protection for an undisclosed amount of time, it would mean that 6ix9ine would essentially be dead. And that would mean that 6ix9ine, aka Tekashi, would need a new name, new personality, new look, and much more just to keep him safe. Needless to say, his life, fate, future, and all that are pretty much still up in the air. And until January 2020 comes around, we won't get anything much more clear than this. Number 3, prison.
Firstborn Daniel Hernandez has a long history with law enforcement.
Unlike many of his previous convictions, 6ix9ine was kept in prison, and he did his best to try and play it cool despite the fact that he was in some serious trouble. One of the first things he did was try and get out of general population. Gen Pop, as it's called, is where all the basic criminals outside of a few select cases go and reside. This includes people in certain groups, like the ones that 6ix9ine often said he was a part of, and regardless of whether he really was or part of the group or not, that meant he had enemies there that would try and harm him. In fact, he and his lawyer actually went to the judge presiding over the case and pleaded that 6ix9ine would really get hurt if he was left with them, especially when there were no guards around to protect him, and because of this, he went and got himself put into a non-violent offenders area of the prison, thus keeping him safe from harm, at least for the moment. Sadly, in the case of Sanity, 6ix9ine used his position to prove just why he was the over-the-top rapper that made him famous. For example, he somehow went and sent a $25,000 watch to his girlfriend for her birthday, and when she came to visit him, took a very suggestive picture with her. And they say prison changes a man. Oh wait, it does. Because as time went on, things became a lot more clear to 6ix9ine, mainly that he wasn't going to get out of this one without some serious help, and that help wasn't coming from the outside or from someone changing their mind about what happened. As like what happened in previous cases against him, this time he needed to get himself out of the situation, and that meant one thing. Number 2, plea deal.
As long as he does not get into any further criminal activity or crime, all 9 counts are out the window.
After months in prison, 6ix9ine came to the realization that he was absolutely screwed. What I didn't mention about the charges lobbied against him was that 2 of those charges were attached with life sentence bids if convicted, and given the thoroughness of the FBI, it was likely one of them or both would stick. And even if he didn't get those charges, the other charges, which are much easier to prove, stated that at minimum he'd have to serve around 47 years in prison, which given the fact that he's only 22 right now, which means he would have gotten out at age 69. Any way you look at it, that's a lot of time in prison. So at the beginning of February, he went and got a plea deal made, and the government took it. Specifically, he agreed to accept guilty verdicts of all crimes that he committed. In return for his help, they would give him lesser sentences on certain ones, potentially, and more of that on a bit. So that begs the question, what can he offer? Well, quite simply, he's gonna rat. He's gonna be a rat and tell everything he knows about the inner workings of the group in New York and other areas that he was involved in. Turns out he wasn't lying when he said he was a part of a group called the Trey Nines. He was working for them in several major ways. In fact, one of the many ways and charges that were lobbied against him were the ones that the Trey Nines forced him to do according to his testimony. So by that end, that means he has information that can help bring down not only his former friends and manager that were arrested with him, but also the members of the group and potentially various other groups that worked with the Trey Nines. In other words, not only was 6ix9ine going to be a rat, he was going to be the rat that would personally hand them every single member of his former group that he could use based on the information he had, and these kind of informants are exactly what the federal government are looking for, and they got the gold mine with 6ix9ine. It's just too bad that this plea deal is already causing a lot of backlash in regards to what he's doing. Number 1, backlash. As we noted in another video, being a snitch or a rat in terms of the rap life is heavily frowned upon, especially when it comes to the boasting that 6ix9ine did over the years about how tough he was and how hardcore he was in terms of his life and what he did. Yet 2 months in jail, he folded like a house of cards. Oh well, such a life. But when the word spreads about him snitching on the others, the response was not so good. Many rappers, even the ones without those ties to the other side of the world, weren't happy with 6ix9ine's decision. In their eyes, it represented weakness and a desire to save one's own skin because he felt it was more important than the brothers that he was sworn to protect and owe loyalty to. Naturally, that's all out the window now. Rappers like Meek Mill, 50 Cent, and more weighed on the situation and found it all to be detestable. Meek Mill was personally very angry about the whole thing, calling 6ix9ine done in terms of his credibility and skin in the rap game. His ex-girlfriend girlfriend saw this as cowardice, not because of him trying to save his own life, but rather putting her and her child in danger. Because if the FBI comes after someone to get something on 6ix9ine, she fears that they'd be a good first target. And that's exactly where we are at this point. 6ix9ine is a rat and will get lesser of a sentence because of it. What exactly he'll get is really unknown, and what's going to happen during that and after the sentence is also unknown, but the fact is he cut a deal, and that's going to get him out of prison either soon or very soon. So what do you think about this? Let me know in the comments down below. Be sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time on King Trending.
Hey, just a reminder that we're changing up the giveaways. From now on, we're offering the Galaxy Note 9, the one that comes with the exclusive Fortnite skin, the new iPhone X Max, which we'll pre-order for you, and the new Apple Watch Series 4, which we'll also pre-order for you. The winner gets to decide between these three. Make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, drop a like, and comment the hidden message in the video for a chance to win. You got nothing to lose. Go for it.